4, 3, 2, 1. We are all here shooting this shit with our hosts, DJ Duss and Bamboo Bam. Let's go.
Yo, what's up? I'm your host, DJ Duss, with my co-host, Crazy Bamboo Bam.
Yeah.
And we got our special guest today, DJ One Up. What's up, Alex?
Going on, homies? How's it going?
You know what? You and I don't know. Bam, we've all been dying of the heat the last couple days.
Yeah.
God damn, man.
Yeah, it's been hot outside.
Got the AC downstairs, the AC upstairs.
I've been hugging mine, man. Giving it a bear hug. Like,
Thank you.
Cool me off, man. Like, god damn. Going outside getting punched in the face. I don't like that shit. You know what I mean? But anyways, Alex, man, you hollered at me a few weeks ago about a topic, man. Tell me about what you wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about a topic. It was kind of hard to summarize, but you know how we have all these smart devices and stuff in our house. It's trying to make our life easier. Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk a little bit about like the backside of that, what that actually does to people. Like, basically, I want to get into how Big Brother is now watching us with all these smart devices. Mm-hmm. And it kind of plays in line with what I do for a living. I work in network security. So I kind of know all of the back end stuff, and it also pops in because my mother-in-law got hacked or whatever. So it's like, oh, let's talk about it. You know, the internet is so prevalent nowadays. Everyone has a smart device, all these other smart devices in their house, not only their cell phones, but, you know, doorbells and stuff. Let's talk about a little of what's actually going on.
What's another city? You guys kind of had a cell phone delivered to you, no?
Yeah. So another situation was I got a cell phone dropped off at my house. So I'm assuming it was a Rogers error, but I opened it up and I'm like, what's this delivery? Now, normally I get stuff delivered like everybody right now. Amazon delivers come in the house and stuff. And I open it up and I see it's a cell phone. So I'm like, I didn't order a cell phone. Rogers sent me a cell phone. And then I go into my account and it seems like someone had upgraded my phone and sent it to my house. So there's two scenarios that I can think of. Yeah. Either someone hacked into my account, ordered the cell phone, and then was gonna porch pirate it, which you can't really do with these deliveries because you have to sign off on them and stuff.
Yeah. But
they have my address. They can come by my house, grab the phone, and then it's never heard of again. And I have to call Rogers and go through their fraud department. Right. But luckily, I was able to get the phone, jump on my Rogers account, and change the password and do all the security stuff that I know what to do. Yeah, a headache. And then I called Rogers and returned the phone and tried to get my old plan back because I was on a special plan that they didn't have available anymore. Right. So, but that's another thing. It's passwords. Passwords are easily guessable. With technology nowadays, it's very easy to spy on people and do stuff like that. Like I know, for instance, I reuse passwords for accounts. So like, let's say, for instance, that Rogers password got taken. I immediately had to change a bunch of other passwords because if they know one password, the chances are they're going to know other ones. Right. Right. So basically, the topic I want to get into is Big Brother watching us. In certain scenarios or certain things that we can look at in our everyday lives is like, bam, have you ever talked about something with somebody that you like a product or something, and then you jump on your Instagram and your Facebook and you start getting ads for that product?
Yeah, he's had big giant dildos show up on his
Facebook. all sorts of things like that. And I find they share all this information amongst themselves. You know what I mean? And it's just them targeting. But if you really think about the program itself, it's a fucking virus. If you really think about it.
Yeah, but think about like even like the targeting you're saying. That's the targeting that they're using. They're using that information for advertising and stuff. What other information do they know about you?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so if you think about it, the whole fact that if I would use my computer and type in search something,
yes,
that's a virus. They are keystroking you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like whatever you put in, oh, look at that. You know what I mean? It's a virus.
That was cool.
And now we're going to sell it to this guy and that guy and this guy, and then they're going to keep sending it on this platform, that platform, that platform. But all reality, it's a fucking virus. But
Bam, I don't. The searching thing doesn't bother me. I search for something, and then it shows up on, these little ads of different websites. It's when you don't search it.
Yes, the talking.
And I just shoot the shit with a friend. I remember talking about toothpaste. Trust me, bro, I've never looked up toothpaste in my fucking life on my device. We talked about toothpaste. I use this brand. I use that brand. Dude, next day, the brand that we mentioned is on my phone, bro.
Well, that's, like...
That's talking.
Me, I think it's like when you go to someone's house, if you ever went on their Wi-Fi before, whenever you go there, your phone automatically locks into their Wi-Fi. So if you're on their network, that information will get sent to it's going to go to your phone too, right? You know what I mean? That's what I think in that scenario.
Yeah, but like for instance, what Joey's saying is that our phones are constantly listening to us, right? All the devices we have, like in my, like I have. I'm not going to say her name because she's going to start responding to me. But we have like the Amazon device and we have the Apple devices.
Oh yes,
and we say you say certain keywords and they're gonna turn on and listen to you, actively listen to you, and they tell you, oh yeah, they're not really listening all the time, but that's how they're listening. They're getting advertising. And the thing is, it makes life so convenient. Like for instance, Ring doorbells. I know lots of people that have Ring doorbells because they have the camera.
That's right.
That information is being sent up to servers that you don't own. The server doesn't sit at your house, and all that video data doesn't sit there. It sits on some server up there. And I know in the US there's police departments that are trying to use that information, that video, to solve crimes.
Yeah,
but then you
track the criminals. Yeah,
right. But then you run into the situation: when can you use that video and when can't you? Like, when are you allowed?
You can't.
Yeah. But it's helped solve crime, Bam. So there's that dilemma, right? Like there's a problem with my work is security and convenience. There's always a balance, like, right? You know what I mean?
Well,
so the more secure something is, the more inconvenient it becomes.
Well, that goes down to investigation. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, we don't got to investigate anything. We can just go on here and watch this guy and backtrack him all the way back to where he went. You know what I mean? So their job is easy, convenient for them. You understand what I'm saying? Before, they used to have to investigate. But back then, they had trust in the public. The public would tell them, this what happened, this what happened. They don't fuck that up to the point where, you know what? They're trying to get sneaky, bro. In that aspect. To me, I feel they're trying to be sneaky because I don't think anybody should be able to see what's in front of your house.
Well, the problem is, I think the main issue is who has access to that data, right? So there are some people that are going to use it for good, that are going to use it for just what they want, but there are people that are going to use it for extra. Yes,
for instance, you let's say, for instance, you sign up a Rogers, whatever. Some sort of like home security thing with cameras. Do you think in that paperwork, in some fine print, it says that they are allowed to use your footage? Well, because none of us are really reading these
right. Of course, the user agreements and stuff. Yeah. So what that normally does is usually those user agreements are going to state that everything that is on that camera is owned by that company. So Rogers would own it, or Bell, or whatever, or even it could even be the servers that it gets sent up to. They would be the owners and proprietors of that data. The issue becomes is our government or our police departments can then send a warrant, basically go to those companies and say, hand me that footage. And nowadays with the bills being passed and stuff, there really isn't too much recourse the companies can do. They're basically going to say, give me that data. Another example is there was a criminal that had an iPhone, and Apple basically, the FBI went to Apple and said, can you hack this phone for us because we need the information? Apple said no, but then they just went to a third-party company and paid them a shitload of money, and they got that phone hacked. So if Apple's not going to do it, someone else is going to do it.
Well, Apple saved their ass because the bottom line is if the people lose trust in Apple, they're not going to buy their product.
But does that tell you how much power the smartphone has now? Like how much information the phone has on you? How much data you have out there?
Well, that's the thing. It's like everywhere you go, you're being tracked. Beep, 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 beep. They know where you are, what you're doing, and that's why they want that phone. Like I said, if your phone is locked, if you got your, whatever. But these third-party people, these are the people who used to work at Apple and left and know how to hack the phone. You get what I'm saying? Which honestly, if the company is owning whatever's on my Ring, device, if you work for the company and you leave, I own what you do. You know what I mean? It should be in place too. You get what I'm saying? Because I guarantee you, if you work for the CSIS or the fucking CIA, when you leave, you can't say a fucking word. You understand what I'm saying? No. So that should apply,
It should apply, but it doesn't apply when it's big corporations. Like the big issue with government agencies, like CSIS and CSE obviously are different because they usually have a lot of money coming into it, but there's not really, like, they're bound by certain laws. If me and you and Joey open up a company that but we hire a bunch of smart engineers that can break into phones and stuff, we're not really held accountable the same way as these big government companies. They have to follow, certain degrees. Like Apple didn't want them to crack their phone. Apple didn't want them to go through the encryption.
That's right.
But this company said, I don't care. That's what they want. And we're now going to be the specialty guys that can do this now. So the FBI, whenever they want a phone crack, they're going to come to me and pay me a shit ton of money.
But they went to the guys who used to work for Apple who knows the encryption. You see what I'm saying? So technically, by law, if Apple would have signed a contract with this dude saying you can't do anything regarding our encryption, they was locked out. You understand? That's the law. You know what I mean? You signed that. You know what I mean? Same thing with any other high value security clearance you take. You sign an agreement saying if I do this, I'm going to jail. You know what I mean?
So my main thing is how scary is that though? How scary is that much information?
Terrifying. It's terrifying.
So why do you keep buying iPhones?
Who? I don't have an iPhone. I got a Samsung.
It's not any different.
Yeah, I know. But
it's not any different.
It's terrifying. But the problem is they keep changing the game on us. They make it where we have to have it. You know what I mean? Like honestly, if you can find an old flip phone, if it's still working, use that fucking thing because
it's true.
They don't have as much of the options on there, right? But now everybody's like, send me a picture. See, this is the problem, right? You know what I mean?
It's true.
You know?
But that's what I'm saying. Convenience, something that's more convenient is less secure, right? That's the balance. To me, like I love gadgets, so it's a shiny new thing. Oh my god, I want to get it. I want to get it. But in my brain, I'm like, I'm really just giving this information to people. You know what I mean? It's really available.
But my question is, do you really give a shit about the information? Like, what information that you know more about this than me and Bam? What information are you scared of? Because I know you're a great guy. You have nothing to hide. You go to work. You do your thing. You're a family man. Yeah. What are you scared? What information are you worried about that they're gonna have? So back in the day, I used to be a drug dealer. I would be worried about everything.
Yeah, exactly. I completely understand that. Now, to me, it's not really what I'm afraid of at the moment. It's more, it came into my mind as more like my kids, like, right? You know what I mean? They have iPads now. Yes. They have technology. They talk on the Xbox and stuff. I have restrictions on the iPads and the accounts as to what they can access and stuff.
That's right.
But I'm trying to teach them as they grow up to be a little more tech savvy. But a picture of my kid goes on the internet. Let's say they start chatting with some guy.
Yeah.
That information, technically, everything in that picture, they can find out where they live and all that stuff. They can do a quick Google image search, find out if the school posted a picture of them online. They know what school they go to. They know this is stuff that gets really scary, right? So as a consumer, you have to be a little more tech savvy about it. Like I said, I have all their accounts locked down. If they log into anything, I get a pop-up on my phone, tells me right away what they're doing.
And it's hard to be tech savvy like that and more secure when everything that you sign is given permission that they own it. You get what I'm saying?
100%.
So they get to do whatever they want with whatever information you do on your phone. You know what I mean? So it kind of jams you up. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, if I want this, but I gotta let him take the data, and it's like, fuck. So anything you do, someone else can find this and that. So you can be as secure as you want to, but but when it comes to that question, the answer to me is not what I'm worried about. It's what they can make me be liable for.
That's another thing. That's a good point, Bam. It's not only what they could do, what they can do with that information now, but down the line, maybe I go in for like a high profile job and I did something stupid. Now they have that
I can never be president or prime minister.
They just pull up the little, oh yeah, remember when you did this, and it's like, oh shit, that's
I mean, you got all sorts of friends and people that and you can't control what people do. Someone went out and committed a fucking murder, and for some reason that person don't care about going straight home. They come and see you and chat with you, and you have no clue this motherfucker did what he did.
Yep, exactly.
But the fact that you was with him, now you accountable. You get what I'm saying? For some reason, hey, well, his phone was at your house on your network at this time. Da da da. And 10 minutes after, like
interesting.
And here's the scarier shit, Bam. Technology nowadays is getting so good. They could get a video of you and they could manipulate it, say whatever the hell they want. Really, the deep fakes out there are crazy.
Yep.
The stuff they get, like imagine with the stuff we could do with Photoshop, they can already do that with live videos now. It's bananas.
Now talking about manipulating stuff, how you probably know this a little bit better than we do. How the fuck was Russia manipulating the presidency for Donald Trump? How exactly? With voting systems, or was it just advertising?
It was the machines, the software on the voting machines basically wasn't counting. From what I understand, is they wasn't counting the ballots correctly. I haven't done too much research in it, but basically the software itself wasn't protected, so they were able to basically hack the voting machines and
as far as they was concerned, those machines wasn't secure enough.
Exactly.
You know, they're like, this could happen. But the fact of the matter is, if Russia was doing that, it's all, like I said, it's fake news. Once they put it out there, it's out there. And even to today, people are still saying some shit that common sense. You know it's not right. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound right, but someone to sit there and argue it with you to the fucking T where you almost got you thinking, is he right? You know what I'm saying?
As long as it's said enough, right?
You know what I mean? So
the problem with human nature and stuff, and it goes back to the network security. And hopefully by the end of the podcast, I can maybe give some tips to the viewers and listeners to kind of protect themselves online. Is inherently we're lazy. Like people are lazy to want to do protection on their stuff. They don't want to have a different password for every single account they have. They don't want to bother with two-factor authentication, which is having a password plus another device that has to send you a code and stuff like that, or VPNs and all that stuff. We can get into those a little later, but that's what I kind of wanted to bring this subject up and maybe give some tips, because like my parents are terrible at doing that stuff. My wife is terrible at doing that stuff. And to be honest, nowadays we're so connected to online, to the internet, to anything. We're so susceptible to that. Like we have friends that have that Ring doorbell. That Ring doorbell connects to your Wi-Fi. I connect to your Wi-Fi. I now have control of that camera.
Actually,
control of everything.
Actually, you connect right now. From what I heard, they're trying to make all of them one network. They're trying to make all one network. So you get in that network, you're going to see everybody's shit. You know what I mean? Not just one person. You know, I don't have to hack your fucking router.
No,
all I have to do is hack that network. And I can see around the world.
So what Bam is getting to is these devices eventually what they want to do. I'm not sure about the Ring technology directly, but they want to be able to talk to each other. So the reasoning for that is if you have multiple cameras, you want them to be able to communicate with each other. But now if you have other neighbors with the same kind of camera, technically they can communicate with each other, but there's ways to restrict it how far they can go. The police, like the Florida police, the story I was telling you before, is they wanted to use that ability to use kind of like a closed circuit television, so they would be able to watch people. They're like, okay, Bam, I knew Bam drove down this street at this time. Cool, I know this guy has a camera. I'm going to click on his camera. Oh, there he goes. There I see Bam.
Right, that's
right.
right.
They can follow his path.
One network, and they can sit there and go into it. And that right there is terrible, because once one person hacked that network, I can make you be on that block that you wasn't supposed to be on.
So, so I've been rewatching Dexter. So if this network existed, there would only be one season, is what we're saying.
Pretty much. Now it's funny. Like obviously the TV likes to make things more dramatic and stuff, but it's not too far off. Like I can't pinpoint your exact location given your IP address without doing a bit of work. But now that your cell phone is connected, I know what towers you've hit. I know what time of day you've been in certain locations. I can even tell, even Facebook, you check into a restaurant. Cool. I know that at this time of day, you go here. People post all the time. Oh, I'm having lunch with Buddy. Okay. I knew you were there at this time. Chances are you might be there again. So if I'm trying to, like, how many times have you met someone or heard a name and you type their name into Facebook? You have pretty much all their information at the tip of your fingertips.
That's true.
It's pretty fast. Like it's
when
crazy.
did things get fucked up?
When people die.
No. I meant security-wise. You fucking face.
Bam went like this.
He was so right, but he went on the wrong lane.
Well, I mean, like he said, they post. Oh shit, I'm over here getting Chinese food.
You know what I'm asking for?
Yeah. So what Joey's looking for is like, when did we get like so connected to the point where it's become dangerous? And I think. To be honest, it's when like the iPhone came out. Like when the first, there was the Palm Trio, but the iPhone itself was the advent of cool. Like the Palm Trio was kind of there almost, in Blackberries and stuff, but like the iPhone is all touch, right? You don't have to worry about keys and stuff.
What's up, Andre?
What's going on, Andre? So the iPhone just made it really easy to get online and to be able to access all your social media. So really, it was the advent of the smartphone, which to me would be the first iPhone, and then social media kind of turbocharge that to be really dangerous, because social media, everyone wants to tell you what they're doing. At some point that information is not safe. Bam, I know where you live. You write, oh, I'm going on vacation with the wife, blah blah blah, I'm going for a week.
To get you.
I know your house is empty. If I'm a robber, I know your house is done.
You know my house is empty when I check in at the hotel where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly.
That's problem. But see, this is where you say at that point, I think it's Google Maps, because they started the GPS system.
Right, Google Maps for sure.
You know what I mean? They started the GPS tracking situation.
I think it's the internet.
The internet's another one, true, but it just not when the internet came out, not everyone had access to the internet, right? It was a slow, not as much information came out.
Slow, yeah, and you couldn't find who, where, what. You know what I mean?
Like but that's when information start to be put in.
Oh, 100%.
You know when you start ordering shit, or you start putting your credit card in there. You started to. That's when I think it for me is when there's the real beginning of the end was.
Yeah, the internet was definitely the tool. What I think accelerated to me was with social media and smartphones. But the internet was it's a crazy technology. It does a lot of amazing things, but it's also a very scary place.
I think it was the hacking because they still they're still doing the same tactics as they was doing back then. Someone to hijack your fucking computer, make it a blue screen, and say you got to pay me. You know what I mean, to get your files back. They're doing that shit. The big corporations still. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because big corporations can't afford. Some of them can't afford to lose time off their network, so they'll pay it. Right? They'll just.
Sony PlayStation got hacked in a few years back. Remember that? And it was like all this information and all this bullshit was given out, and it was like, cards, and you were like, and you kind of like, you know, you put trust in a big company like that, you know, to give them your information to get some online video games or to play online in general, and then. You know, they get hacked and they get fucked. So, but in that case, Alex, like, how did they get hacked? For instance, PlayStation.
So PlayStation normally, it's kind of what Bam says is it's corporations get so big, they have so many servers and things to manage. It just becomes too daunting for the company to be able to be on top of everything. That they don't know everything. Like just because you set up a server doesn't mean you're the smartest guy in the world. Right. So usually these hackers have 24 hours. They just basically, you know, I'm going to try this. That didn't work. I'm going to try this. That didn't work. Oh, look, I got this for much farther into the server.
Yeah.
And what they do is they basically plant the software on your computer that basically collects data, and they send that data back. They send it back home. It's called calling back home. Once that data is taken from you, they've already done months and months of data basically like stealing data, reconnaissance stuff. Yeah. By the time you find out, it's been already months that they've had the data. And the problem with that is usually what they go for easy stuff like email addresses, passwords, credit cards, and stuff. Once they have your email address and password, what they'll do is they'll go to Gmail. They'll type in that email address, that same password. Oh, I mean your Gmail because you use the same password. Oh, what other services? Oh, look, you have a Netflix bill. Let me use that email address and same password. Oh, look, now I'm in your Netflix, and it just goes down and down. You for every like 1,000 or 2,000 accounts that gets taken, you know, there's a small percentage of those accounts that then get further exploited, and you may not know that someone has access to your account till further down the line. To be honest, it's
the
scary.
Best security way it would be stay broke, have shitty credit, and have nothing to steal from you. Man, real well on your way, bro. You're good, bro. You're good.
They all fucked, you know what I mean? But no, with the big companies, they too busy with PlayStation. I think they was too busy focusing on the gaming service than the security service.
And to be honest, those companies usually outsource that stuff too. So they go, okay, cool. We can't really afford to pay a bunch of money for these American guys to run our servers, so we're going to go to India and we're going to pay them guys half the dollars to run our servers, and they're not going to do as good as the job, but who cares because I'm saving tons of money. And in the end, you know, they lost your data. Okay, they don't care. It's not their data.
but the overall, okay, let's not talk about hackers and stuff because we know there's always a bunch of psychos and thieves, and back in the day, there's pickpocketers, whatever the case may be. But let's look at more. Is this type of access like Bam mentioned the Google Maps and you know the smartphones and stuff? Is this another government control? Is this like? Do you think that the GPSs in our cars could be, you know, searched if we were driving at a certain places?
So most applications or most things that are kind of like advertised as shiny and cool features, most of those things are usually developed from military purposes and defense purposes. So one example is you know the filters that they put on like apps or whatever. Yeah. There was an app, I can't remember what it was. It was one that made you look old.
Yes, and it was an app. It was done for a while. Yeah,
it was an app you download. People were like going crazy. Look at this filter. You know what that does? It's facial recognition.
It was for no way.
It's they're taking your face and they're throwing it into a database and they're saying, okay, cool. That's what Joey's face looks like. That's what Bam's face looks like. Cool. To you, it's like, oh, look at me. I look old. now there's a database with a bunch of people's faces with their names and your email addresses because you had to sign up for an account for that. And now they know what your face looks like, what your email and stuff like that. So to go back to your question, most of the stuff we're using for convenience can definitely be used for investigative purposes, government purposes, and stuff like that. Here's a perfect example. CSE and CSIS, they put up a fake access point, a free Wi-Fi access point in the airport, and everyone connected to it. Oh yeah. Right? There's a bunch of innocent people on that network. Maybe some guy talking to his girlfriend, whatever, sent a picture of that. That's not what they care for. They care for the terrorist stuff. But that is, here's some free Wi-Fi. Come on, join us. Here's your internet. Right. Now all that data belongs to us because you have to go through us in order to get to the internet, and we're just looking through your shit. Oh yeah. Oh, there's your password. Oh, cool. I don't care about that guy. Oh, look. There's Bam. I want to look at more Bam. Oh, cool. Yeah, Bam's doing this.
Is that why I always get pulled in when I come back?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. But it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. Like, so for instance, what I say to Nikki or friends of mine, like, don't ever connect to a free Wi-Fi ever. Don't ever do that. If you can avoid it, go ahead. And if you do, don't do anything that's super important. I wouldn't connect to Wi-Fi, or even better, if you guys know what a VPN is, it's a virtual private network. So I'll explain that really quick. So a virtual private network would be you connecting to that Wi-Fi and then connecting to your VPN. That VPN is another service you pay for. All your data then goes out from the Wi-Fi into the VPN, and it's all encrypted. Meaning that even if I did spy on your data, it would look like gobbledygook. Like I couldn't be able to tell what you're doing. Then that server then is kind of like a man in the middle. He sends that information out to the internet for me and then responds back. So instead of me giving the data directly to you, Joey, Bam is my VPN. So it goes from exactly. And it goes to the internet and it comes back to you, and it's all encrypted. So I could watch your data all day. I would not know what you're doing.
Interesting. Okay.
So VPN is definitely something that I do recommend for people that are doing stuff online. Another advantage of VPN is you can watch American Netflix, stuff like that, because they can't see where you're from. They can't tell where you're coming from. So that's a way to encrypt your traffic. Right. There's a lot of VPN services out there. I definitely suggest looking into one if you can. You want to be more secure. But again, it comes down to a convenience thing. It's not convenient because you have to do one extra step before you go to the internet, but it secures your data.
There you go.
And another thing is, if you guys have some time later on, there's a device called a Stingray. Now, this is crazy. This Stingray is used by government organizations to spy on your cell phone calls. So what they do is they put it on. It basically acts like a cell phone tower. So when your phone connects to a cell phone tower, it connects to the Stingray. Just like a VPN, it becomes a man in the middle. So all the data goes through the Stingray device. All your phone calls, your text messages, anything from your phone going to the tower now goes through the Stingray. A lot of government agencies do that, like Olympics. When you go to the Olympics or big, huge events, they'll have these Stingrays attached so that in the event, terrorists, they're sending messages saying, hey, are we good for this attack? Yeah. They know, okay, cool. That came from this cell phone number, this direction. We can kibosh that really quick.
So you mentioned terrorists a few times. Is this when things shifted too?
Yeah, 9/11 in the United States, obviously it shook the world as well. That was the big catalyst to basically say we're going to push all these bills to take away freedoms from the people in the guise of security. Now it does have security benefits, but when is it okay for the government now to pull those back? Once they implement those security measures, they're never going away because they're beneficial to them. In the end, it's beneficial for the government to be able to spy on you and look at stuff. Like even in this whole COVID scenario, some of the countries that handled it the best were the ones that are completely under government control, like China, I think Taiwan. Those people, you have to stay home and they'll track you on your phone. They know exactly where you are. They know exactly what time you need to be home. That's another advantage of it, but you don't have a life. Like in those countries, you can't look at the news properly. Like you go to do a Google search for, anything anti-China and it gets blocked because you don't have the real internet there. It's crazy how much power companies can have over their citizens, and it's crazy how much power you give up by using these smart devices. And that's kind of just what I want to just make everyone aware is, it's awesome to put up a couple of pictures of your family on social media, but just be aware that you're not the only person seeing that, and that data does no longer belong to you anymore. Right. You're opening your life up to everybody. You're opening your life up people that you want to open up to and people that you don't. Facebook now owns that image. For all you know, that image is now being used as an ad somewhere else in a different country. You'll never see it.
It's true. I mean? And how many fake profiles is there now?
Oh, 100% fake profiles all the time.
Instagram's fucking famous for fake profiles.
Yeah, even I see you promoting the podcast. You have a bunch of posts after your podcast flyer. Oh, promote us on this, promote us on that. But they're real people's names, but they're ghost accounts.
Dude, there's no one. Yeah, you see that. Promote on music, blah blah blah, vintage music, and you click on them, and it's like 0 following and 7 followed, and I'm like, who are you?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
they're just bots. They're basically programs that scour Instagram and look at your hashtags, and they go, okay, cool, this is a music guy. So some company paid me to build this bot and say, whenever you see a music hashtag, tell them to promote it on this page.
Yes.
And so you pay.
Let's be real. Talk about those pages. Let's say that you click on those pages. Those pages will have like 4 million followers. Okay. Fantastic numbers. They probably follow single digits, by the way.
Yeah.
But those 4 million are probably 4 million bullshit too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So they want me to pay them to promote something that says 4 million on it. That is fucking probably bullshit.
Yeah. Yes. But to certain people, the numbers game is all that matters, right? They just want to see that number up there. But, it doesn't, the numbers don't matter to everybody.
It just when it comes to when the podcast game, and you know what I mean, with us promoting our product, you get to see more phony baloney, and you see how the game is manipulated, or the numbers aren't really real, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's what is it called? It's a system, right? It's like
it's the algorithm.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all a game. It's the algorithm, and it's all about how, like, Instagram, YouTube, they want you to promote different people to use their service more and more, to pay for this, to pay for that, and it's all just to make your page bigger. But in the end, it's all about making the almighty dollar.
Why are majority of the scammers from India and Nigeria?
It's cheap. It's cheap to pay them. It's very cheap. Like call centers. They usually, you get a call from a call center. It's usually from India, the Philippines, or I think India and the Philippines normally is what I usually get.
And we call
Bell. There's a lot more people to do the work.
Yeah, it's cheaper. And to be honest now, Rogers, customers don't like that. I know Rogers, the last couple times I called Rogers, they directly say, hey, it's blah, blah, blah from Toronto. So they tell you, okay, cool, you're actually talking to like a real person from Toronto or whatever, as opposed to a third-party call center somewhere else. So I think companies are getting the understanding that it's not probably the best just to, pay someone shit wage to do your job, because people are going to bother doing business with you.
True.
Yeah.
Are you recommending even when?
Where do you run off
shit!
Did you kick him off, man?
No, bro. I didn't even do anything. I didn't move.
He kicked himself. Oh, his VPN went disappeared.
He's talking too much shit. They kicked him off.
The VPN said no.
I'm not now. I'm thinking. Oh, there he is.
Government hacked me. Sorry.
That's what we're saying. You're talking too much shit.
My phone kicked me out. I don't know why. What's up?
I think your VPN said no.
There's like there's 5 different guys trying to kick him off. My phone, the government, Rogers. Everyone's like, get him off. Like, do you even recommend using hotel Wi-Fi?
So hotel Wi-Fi, the only thing I do connect to it again. VPN, if you can, if you have a service, use a VPN. I would much prefer you go downstairs, usually to the lobby, and use one of their computers. Don't ever log into Facebook. Don't ever log into Instagram. If you're just searching for a restaurant or something, Google it and that's it. If you're at a hotel and you need to do a couple searches or whatever, not a big deal. But if you're doing social media stuff, disconnect from their Wi-Fi. Now, they do have agreements. Like, so most hotels are getting a little better of it. They only give you Wi-Fi if you sign up for their service. So like I have to create an account at the Marriott or whatever. So there's a little bit more security behind that and a little more ownership. Like so Marriott, Marriott, you can kind of go back and say, hey, I got hacked, whatever. But in the end, in all the user agreements that if you glance through, they're going to say we're not responsible for anything that happens to your data and stuff like that.
Man, that's fucking crazy.
So yeah, if you're at a hotel and you need to do something that it's really important to you, just go on your data.
So that brings me to the question of, so who is responsible for the data? You understand what I'm saying? Like, who should be responsible for the data?
In what sense? Who's responsible for the ownership of the data, or who's responsible for the security of your data?
All of it. In the sense, if I'm going to sit there and say, hey, if you sign up with me, I own it. I can do whatever I want. Yeah. So if anything go wrong with that data, I should be responsible for it. But for some reason, I get away with it.
So in the end, the responsibility of the data is on you. It's your data. You're responsible for it. You're using a service that I'm providing.
And that's where, that's what I said. Why now? So if you're going to say you own my data, right? When I agree with you, I own the data, and say I did something, boom, they go, oh, it's him who did it, but you got the information from that place about what I did.
Yep.
Now I should be able to sue you because you shouldn't have never gave that to the first place. But like you said, hey, we only provided a service, blah, blah, blah.
And you probably didn't read the end user license agreement that the fact that I'm giving you a free service, I say I'm not accountable.
I don't read that shit. I click here.
Right. So somewhere along the lines, somebody's got to be in control of this data. You understand? Like somebody needs to regulate this because it's out of hand.
So there are bills obviously for people who want to regulate, but the problem, Bam, with regulation is then you put the control of all the data into the government's hand, or a regulatory body. Someone else is still in control of that data, in control of the decisions of what happens to you. In the end, if you're using a free service, it's in their license agreement stuff. They own everything because you're using their system. Everything that you put up there, they own.
But to me, it's a whole bunch of hypocrisy because no matter how you look at it, whatever data they get, they use it against you. They say it's your data. So if it's my data from the giddy up, I use your service. That's fine. You shouldn't have no access to be able to use my data, whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but it's not realistic.
And I'm not the one that should be saying this. It's the governments that should be saying, you can provide this service, but you can't use these people's data. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And that's not the government taking control of my data. It's just saying, telling other people you can't. Because right now it's Facebook, Instagram, this one, that one, and they collecting data from everybody, and they constantly sharing amongst each other. You see what I'm saying? And the government is like, well, we can't do nothing because he said you using the service and you agreed to this and da. They should be able to say, all you motherfuckers can't use none of their data. You can't sell it to him. You can't sell it to there. And I bet you all that tracking of us will slow the fuck down. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. It's not going to happen because the government uses that data. It behooves them to continue to allow them to do that because it's them collecting the data. Nowadays, data information about people is gold. It's used to advertise. It's used to track people. It's used for everything. There are services out there instead of Gmail, instead of Facebook, that do that. They say, go ahead, use our platform. We won't track your data, blah, blah, blah. You usually have to pay a premium for it, and people don't want to pay for that.
That's right.
And two, it's more of a headache. So you might have to pay for storage. Okay, cool, bam. Well, you can create an account on my platform instead of Facebook. It's Bambook or whatever. But I'm going to charge you $300 a year to have a certain amount of space because that's how much you're going to take up on my platform. Facebook gives it for free, but because they make all that money off of your advertising, they make money off of all that stuff. That's how it works. Gmail is not Google's not nice, and they want to just give you stuff for free. They're making money off of that shit. They make money off of that. Like that's all. Anything you get for free, whether it be an app, whether it be I don't know, like a free phone from Rogers or whatever, that's all to get you into their service. Like I have a Gmail account. If I had to close that Gmail account, like any things I had to change and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I don't care. Go ahead. Here's my information. Bottom line, it goes back to security versus convenience. Gmail is super convenient for me. I'm going to use it. yeah, I know they have my data, so I'm just not going to ever put anything that I really care about on that account. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But a lot of people are just so used to doing shit that they
Yeah.
don't even think about it. Like most of these people, they rat themselves out. They go on shit live, talking about where they at, showing off guns, doing this
Yeah.
and this. Hey, dude, what are you doing? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
You're
that's
telling on yourself.
that's
You know what I mean?
stupidity. They're idiots. I always tell people, I'm like, if you don't want anyone to ever see something, don't put it online.
You know?
I tell people at work. I have friends that'll email people that, and I'm just like, don't do that. And they're like, well, why? I'm like, because all that email that you send and all the messaging that you do, I can see that. I'm part of the IT security.
That's
I know,
right.
I know what you surf at home at work. I know what searches you do. I know what time you log into work, what time you log off. You say you do work all day. I can tell exactly what you're doing at any given time. It's just whether or not the company needs that information at that time. Like I've worked for old organizations that we would be able, basically, let's say your manager came to you, Bam, and say, hey, you're not really doing a lot of work. I know you're surfing the internet all day. And you're like, no, I'm not. A ticket would come to me and they say, can you give me Bam's last week of work? And I would literally could send them a video file of everything you've done.
Now, how far back can you go?
Those depends how much space those devices would have.
Okay.
In our case, I think it was 6 months to a year.
Oh my God. Okay, it was more than I expected.
Yeah. And it depends on how much. Now, we weren't allowed to look at that data without proper authorization. Like I couldn't just go and see what you were doing. If I would get in trouble for that. But that's not to say that data was never available to me. I could literally see what anyone's doing. If you're paying your bills online with credit cards and stuff, I can see you're doing that. I can see how much money's in your bank account and stuff.
Damn.
If you're at work and doing stuff on the internet, someone's going to be able to see that information. And
technically, we're being watched no matter what.
Yeah, and so what I say to people is don't do stuff that you don't want people to find out about, really, on the internet. Unless you're at your home internet, you know that you're secure, you have your own protections in place.
That's right.
Then you're pretty much good. But even then, like that data, like I don't own an ISP. I pay for Bell. You know what I mean? So that's going to their stuff. So there's always someone you're piggybacking off of for the internet. So just be wary of what you're doing. That's all.
And the world's not doing that, by the way.
No, 100% no. There's a server like with a bunch of pictures of people and doing stupid stuff. Like it's crazy. Like I try to get my point across before is our world is becoming smarter. Everything in our house is smarter.
Yes.
My doorbell's smart. My thermostat's smart. My fridge can be smart. All that's anything. That's all on the internet. Think of it basically as the fridge is on your front lawn. There's nothing protecting it. Someone could go into it and turn it off and do whatever they want. Just be smart. Just be understanding that the more things you have connected to the internet, the more open you are. The more open you are. So be a little smarter. Change. Use a different password. Use something called two-factor authentication to log into your accounts. Anything you really care about. I have certain accounts that I don't care about. If they hack into it, who cares? It doesn't affect it. But my important accounts, I have two-factor authentication turned on. I have alerts turned on. Anything weird happens, I'm gonna get notified right away. Right. You gotta protect yourself. It's a crazy world out there, man.
Yep.
Back in the day, we were worried about the guy in the guns. Now we're worried about the internet and the guy behind the computer. You know what I mean?
Man. Like, it's the way it is now. A guy with a computer, thousands and thousands of miles away, could fuck up your life real easy.
Now, do you think that this? I know this could be a long shot because I don't know anything. Do you think this blockchain technology can work in other factors besides transferring money?
So some of the blockchain technology can already do that. So I think we talked about it with Carm last time we were on the smart contracts. So Ethereum,
NFTs,
so NFT is built on the Ethereum blockchain.
That's
now
right.
Ethereum has something called smart contracts built into it. With that smart contract technology, you could. It's not that you can. It's more secure in the fact that it's encrypted. The transaction's encrypted, so there's not really any spying that I can do on that. But let's say, for instance, I had a car that was capable of, like, I had a rental car.
Yes.
I let Joey rent it, and I do a smart contract. He has it for a certain amount of time and day, and I give him a digital key. He can walk up to the car, it would open, it knows it's Joey. Joey uses it, and it'll have an alarm saying, okay, you have 30 minutes left of the car or whatever.
Okay.
There's not really any way for you to bypass that. It's built into the currency, into the transaction.
I see.
So it could kill that transaction. So things like that, like that's kind of technology they can use the blockchain to make things more secure. Voting could be another one. So with the blockchain technology, they can use they can build a better voting system out of there. It did lots of different things they can do with blockchain.
Well, do you remember back
it's not
in
the
the
answer
day-
to everything, but there are some things it can do.
Yeah.
Back in the day, remember everyone used to like to use BBM on your BlackBerry.
Yes, yeah.
Now, how come BBM? How come that was encrypted? I was just told, we only can't track you through BBM. Well, how did that work?
Well, they can't track you for BBM, but it's encrypted. But again, BlackBerry is the company that would own that data. So they could decrypt it and look into
If they wanted to. Okay.
But it would be shitty for them to do that because then you're like, well, I'm not going to trust you anymore.
That's their sales pitch, right?
Exactly. BlackBerry from the beginning was a security company. They were very into security software. Their devices were secure. That was their big thing. That's why the government all used BlackBerries back in the day. So BBM basically because it was encrypted. So the way BBM worked is your device was on their network. You would send a message up to their server. Their server would encrypt it, and then it would go to BAM, and BAM's device was able to decrypt that traffic.
Okay.
So instead of that traffic being in the clear when it crosses the internet, it's encrypted. So back to the whole VPN thing, it's gobbledygook. I can't see it. But BlackBerry owns that network, so they have their own services, and that's why it was so quick. It was like bing, bing, bing.
That's right.
Because it was a small network. It was good for them to offer this service. It basically sold tons of devices.
It was cool back then. It was one of the coolest things ever. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So think of it as like you remember MSN Messenger back in the day?
That's right.
It was like that, but for only people that had Blackberries. So
that's right.
It became huge because everyone thought they were cool with the BlackBerry and BBM messaging, and it was so fast. And even then, it was ahead of its time. Like other than that, text messaging, you sent a picture message, it was shitty quality. It took forever. They would charge you back in the day. BBM, it was all included, right?
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, and it was cool. Again, it made it convenient so that you use the service. In the end, all that data that you ever sent I'm not sure if they still have it, but it's on a server sitting on BlackBerry headquarters somewhere.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they go bankrupt. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Alex, some of the stuff that you were mentioning that would help, secure our privacy. Would you be able to get a few links and post them on our comments afterwards?
Yeah, so I can post links to a couple of services I use really quick. Like for passwords, I recommend using two-factor authentication I mentioned. So when you put in your password, you also get a little message on your cell phone or email saying put in this code. That usually, like if you ever get hacked and you still have access to your account, first thing you do is turn on two-factor authentication and change your password. Usually it will get people out of your account and save you. Second thing would be a password manager. So it's a company. Again, it's a company that you trust. You pay them a service, and they basically store all your passwords for you securely, or they can create you like jumbled passwords.
Okay.
And then when you log into a website, you have a plugin installed on your browser or on your phone, and it'll say, yeah, I know your password. You want us to enter it for you? You click a button and it logs in for you. That way you don't have to remember your passwords. This company does that for you. There are a couple of big companies that do that.
Are they
I can post them. Not really. I think I pay for my password managers. I believe it's like $40 a year for the whole family, so I can have other accounts in there. VPN is another one I mentioned. I can throw a link to that. And those are the big things. You can get into more security stuff like buying a firewall, but for that stuff, it's more home stuff, the devices you buy to filter stuff, and then you have to know a little bit more about it and administer it, and it becomes more of a headache. But password manager, VPN, and two-factor authentication are your friends on the internet.
Cool.
That's the way you secure your accounts and make sure your information is protected. And all the big Instagram, Facebook, Google, all the big companies usually offer two-factor authentication out of the box.
Oh, for real? Okay.
Yeah, I know Instagram does. It's a pain in the ass. They send you a bunch of codes, but it keeps you protected and secure.
That's good.
So the ones that don't have that are like Netflix and stuff. So if you do have those services, Netflix, Disney Plus, don't use a password that you care about. Use a shitty password, that ones that you don't really care to get hacked. because in the end you'll get a notification from Netflix that your account got hacked, and you can change your password usually, or just cancel and re-sign up.
And whoever's hacking your Netflix is a fucking loser anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. So it's shit like that. It's really, but yeah, I can definitely put up some links to some places people might want to check out. Something easy to do. It might cost you a little money, but it'll be a lot less more expensive if someone hacks into your bank.
Yeah.
Because even if you got all your shit back, it's not overnight.
Oh no, not at all.
It is such a headache. You hear nightmare stories. Yeah. It's like losing a wallet. It is. It's you're almost a nobody after. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to start over, and it's a bit of a disaster. So to prevent the disaster, $40 a year. Who gives a shit, right? Like
exactly, and it's just to protect yourself. Like you don't have to use it for there are better services, cheaper services. There are some free ones out there as well. It's just how valuable is your data really. Yeah. I know for me, I have most of my stuff is online. Like I rarely do anything with paper and pen anymore, right? So I need to protect that data because if that gets hacked, then my bank account's screwed and shit's going sideways.
It's gonna be a whole nother episode on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Alex, man, you brought some knowledge to the game here. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I like to see both your perspectives on what fears you on this. You know what I mean? Like I know we're being searched and stuff, but I went from being super paranoid from what I used to do for a living to not giving a shit if they're following me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got a different weight lifted off my shoulders, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you were mentioning, your kids, your stuff, your identity and stuff, that's why asking you guys where it is a different perspective.
It's a whole new baggage.
Yeah, it's a whole new ball game. Like once you understand that all your information, it's not just you anymore. It's whoever's connected to you. Even Bam had a good point that I didn't think of. It's not only your family, it's your friends, your extended family, anyone you have connections to online. You tag a person in a picture, bang, they show up on your timeline. That person's account might be hidden. Well, they're not hidden anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's information nowadays. It's dangerous.
That's why I don't take pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it. Just be smart when you're online. It's not everyone's. When you're online and you're open to the world.
I know. And when you tend to block certain things and so on and so on, people think you're being shady. It's like I don't feel the need to have to post all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why? If I'm going to post all the time, I'm posting for a reason.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying? If I'm not posting, because it's none of your fucking business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we have that old school mentality, Bam, that keep certain things,
because
close to the chest. But nowadays, like my kids, I'm sure when they get older, they'll post everything.
You see some shit online that you're like, what the fuck are they posting?
Yeah, like why would you post that?
You take that off, you stupid idiot. You know what I mean? And I'm like, do I comment? But I can't do the comment because I don't like the internet war. You know what I mean?
So, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it. Post whatever you want, you moron.
Well, don't get me wrong.
Following you.
When people post, they post because they feel like they need to post this stuff, which is fine. Granted, go ahead, post it. If it's stupid or not, whatever, do your thing. That's fine. But just remember, you're going to be accountable for certain things after a while when things get awry. Like I said, you could be sitting there having dinner with a bunch of people that just committed murder like a half an hour ago. And you know what I mean? You're sitting there taking a picture at the dinner table with these people. You know what I mean? And you like, the cops come knocking on your door like, hey, where's so-and-so? What do you mean where's so-and-so? Well, he was here yesterday having dinner. You know what I mean? Now you got to explain yourself for no fucking reason. You know
good luck deleting that post because someone already screenshotted that post.
Oh, yeah. We've screenshotted stuff and sent it to each other and we laughed.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
I'm going to screen some shot and put it on here. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
Anyways, Alex, man, thank you for your time and acknowledging us with some of the stuff. Because we don't know. We're on that generation. We're a lot better than our parents.
Yes.
We're a lot worse than others. We don't really know. We figured out how to use the computer. We figured out how to use the mouse, and we're pretty good at guiding. But protection-wise, none of us really know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's normal, Joe. This is the thing. That's the norm. Like to me, I'm abnormal because I live in that world and I see that so many things.
Yeah.
But I think, to be honest, more and more, it should be more general knowledge. So if you ever have any questions or anything like that, like go ahead and fire. If any of the viewers or listeners have any more questions and stuff, put them in the comments. I'll comment back and we'll see. We'll see what's
up, man. All right, boys. So Alex, I'm gonna catch you next month at the end of the month.
Sounds good.
Pop out this calendar. We have a funny one. Planned for that one. It'll be July 28th. It's on a Wednesday. Perfect.
Yeah.
I never look at the day before. I don't know why I don't do that. But anyways, it's all good. Bam, you bastard.
Yeah.
You're getting Canada Day tomorrow for you guys?
Yep.
Nah, man. Ever since what's going on, they canceling a lot of shit.
I know, but do you still celebrate the 4th of July too?
Yeah.
Look at this guy. He's going to have 2 parties in 4 days.
Actually, no, not the way I've been feeling. You know what I mean? I just,
I didn't want to talk about your shitty cramps, but whatever.
Yeah, well.
Just take the day off.
Feeling old, you know what I mean?
Do your thing. But Bam, we have Feet After Midnight rock band here this Monday coming up, man.
Dope.
Yes, so we got
I like when the bands come. You get a lot more things.
We like the fact that we like to see the different thoughts of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
They don't have the same struggle or the same hate and the same legs. It's fucking hilarious, even though they're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? But they all have their different perspective. It was really cool. We had a band on here before, Body Paint. Now we're getting Feet After Midnight, so it's gonna be dope. It's definitely interesting to have them. So can't wait. That's this Monday. We'll go from there, guys. Guys, peace, man.
All right.
Thanks for being on.
Peace.
Take it easy, guys.